record. And slowly getting my Zoom groove together. Okay. I still don't like that you guys can see like my Zoom windows. Can you? Can you see my Zoom windows? Or can you just see the presentation? Oh, okay.
I
Okay.
can see it.
Okay. Well, so I wanted to kind of keep going on the conversation that we've been having when it comes to content and hone in on what are we sharing? What is the messaging behind your brand? And the plan with kind of these calls is to have a monthly, like I mentioned in, I think the group chat, and then also, let me get the chat up first. Do you guys have a chat menu? Okay. Why don't I? Hold on. Pause. Okay. Okay. Wait, I still don't see you. Hold on. Let me get my life together just for a second. Boo. Okay, it's fine. So the plan, I can't see the chat for some reason. That menu went away. So just unmute yourself and interrupt me. If you if you have anything to say or you have questions. The plan with these calls is to have a monthly like business topic call the first Tuesday of every month. Topic's going to rotate, probably like bring people in who can dive into kind of their area of expertise. And then the third Tuesday is to have a more like scripture focused word, like encouraging word, prayer, just to kind of keep our perspectives on what it should be, right? Because it can be so easy to get like so head down focus with all the business nitty-gritty that we like actually lose focus sometimes of how like we have the authority to run business. So anyway, so we're going to be diving into brand messaging, which I honestly I could talk all day about this. So messaging and your brand messaging is going to be the backbone of how people understand and how they connect with your brand. It's not simply telling people what you do. It's showing them why it matters to them. So many times people like businesses and brands want to be egocentric, me centric. This is what I do. And it's trying to show authority, trying to show their expertise. But in reality, your brand messaging, when it's most effective, is all about your customer and all about why what you do should matter to them. So having clear, compelling, concise messaging communicates your brand values in a way that resonates emotionally with them, and it answers the questions, how can this help me? So we're going to be one of my favorite formulas when it comes to brand messaging is Don Miller with Story Brand. He is a podcast. He also has Marketing Made Simple, which was his co-host. Genius. Like his formula when it comes to messaging is so simple. It's not intimidating and it's really effective. And so even if you feel like you have a good idea of what your messaging is, if you haven't tried this like this formula, it's such a good exercise to get clarity, to get more clarity on who you serve and the value that you actually have to bring to them. And so he really focuses on your brand is sharing a story, right? Like every story, whether it's a movie, whether it's a novel, has the same elements in it. You have the main character who is actually the hero of the story. You have a problem that they have to overcome. You have obstacles that they have to overcome. A good story is going to introduce a guide, somebody who comes into their story and helps them along the way. There's a plan, like that, the actual like system or process they go through to overcome their problem. There's always a call to action, like in like the, I always think of Star Wars when I think of like epic stories. So like the idea that like the call to action is like to, you know, step into your purpose and do the thing that you're called to do. And there's always this like huge, like grandiose call to action in those like epic movie storylines. And then you have successes and failures that they encounter along their journey and along the way. So we're going to dive into each of these and how you can take these elements of a story to get clearer on your brand messaging and to share what your business does in a way that's like compelling and makes sense to people. Okay, I still wish I saw you guys. Don't know why. Maybe it's just because I'm in. Sorry. I want to see your faces. Okay. Okay, so the hero. When it comes to your brand messaging, your customer is the hero, and not you, and not your business, not your brand. And this is actually a place where a lot of people and businesses will get it wrong. Your customer is the hero. People don't want to connect with businesses or brands. They don't want to work with people who all they do is talk about themselves. They want to connect with businesses and brands who understand them as a consumer and as a customer and support them on their journey. Right? So to build your brand story and to know who your hero is or who your customer is, you need to clearly understand your ideal customer. Which we obviously talked a lot about in one of our first calls in the content challenge. So think through, who is that ideal customer? What are their goals? What are their desires? What are their challenges? What journey are they on that you can help them with? And we'll dive more into that in just a second, but really start getting an idea of who that customer is and start viewing them as the hero. Like start viewing them. And this is, I think, like one of the biggest distinctions when it comes to messaging. When using this formula, it takes you out of the hot seat. Like it takes the pressure off of you, and your role gets to be to build up your customer, to put the attention on your customer. How can you help them? How can you serve them? How can you get them further along in their journey? And I feel like, honestly, as Christian entrepreneurs, like that, to me, that value right there just resonates with me more. It's so much easier for me to hype somebody up, to be all about helping them, guiding them, rather than keeping it all focused on me. So that's the first and big distinction when it comes to brand messaging. Using this formula is define who the hero is in your brand story. And then you have the problem. So obviously any good story, any story, any like kid story has a conflict. There's something that they have to overcome. So you want to think about what problem is your customer facing that's relevant to your business. Clearly, they're facing lots of problems that need to be solved in all different areas of their life. Like you want to hone in on the problem that you can actually solve, that you can help with, that's relevant to you. So don't get I don't know, like shiny object syndrome with this. Hone in, what's the problem that you can solve? There are 3 levels when it comes to addressing problems, and it's going to start on the surface and it works its way inward. So you have the external problem, the really obvious surface level problem that it's clear somebody has, right? So, Whitney, let's say, let's use yours. So your ideal customer being a busy mom who wants to get healthy, and your offer is Fit Mom Society. The external problem is going to be that they have a health and wellness goal that they want to meet, right? Maybe they're tired, maybe they want to lose baby weight, whatever it is. That's the obvious surface level problem that they have. Then we're going to go a one level deeper and say, what's the internal problem? Emotionally, mentally, how does the external make them feel internally, if that makes sense, right? So how does this problem make them feel? So you're tired, want to lose the baby weight and need more energy, external. And it makes you feel maybe defeated, not confident. That's the internal. And then we're going to go to the core of the problem and go philosophical. Why does solving this problem matter on a bigger scale? You can also think about, like, instead of philosophical, think aspirations and desires. What is it that they actually want that this problem is keeping them from, right? So the hero of your story, Whitney, wants to feel confident and energized in her body. She wants to have the energy to run her race and to do the things that she's called to do, right? To care for her kids um and to feel purposeful, right? And to feel that's philosophical. That's like, what is she actually aspiring? She wants to be a good mom, right? She wants to like be satisfied in these different areas of her life or whatever it might be. So the quicker you can identify and speak to the core problem, the number 3 philosophical part of the problem, the straighter you're going to shoot your arrow. Like the quicker you're going to get to that deep pain point. Because and that's really where your customer's going to feel seen, right? Because there's a lot of solutions out there that are going to be talking to the external. But how many are actually going to be talking to straight to the heart, to the philosophical? Another example is our business, 414. We started using the messaging, I don't remember how long ago, helping you build a legacy, leave a legacy, and pursue your purpose, right? Believing that if you are called to be an entrepreneur, then you have a calling to build something. And we want to help you do that. That's a very different type of messaging than we can get your website up, right? Like we can, and we can fix that external problem. But we want to speak to the philosophical because it's going to give us the right people who identify with it. Does that make sense? Okay, I'm just gonna say yes. You all agree because I can't see you.
Yes.
Okay. So now this is where we come in, the guide. So again, you're the guide. You're not the hero of the story. Okay. Customers are looking for somebody who understands their struggles and can help guide them to success. So the 2 ways that StoryBrand really identifies being seen, how to most quickly be seen as a guide, is to express empathy and to express authority. So empathy, obviously showing your customer that you understand them and that you know what they're going through. And then authority is demonstrating why you're an expert in this area, why you're equipped to help them succeed. So empathy, Winnie, yeah, I don't, well, we were just talking before the call, so maybe it's just your people are on my mind, but so empathy, like, girl, I get you. Like, this is who I was when when I was a young mom, or these were my struggles. Sharing part of the same story, identifying with part of the same problems that they have, is showing them that you understand what they're going through, right? But and I feel like well, I know for all of us on this call, that's our story will really easily align with the hero in our brand story, because we've walked their path, right? But even if you have an industry that say, uh, you can't say I've been where you are necessarily, using the language, if you know what their philosophical problem is, what their core problem is, and you use language that speaks to them, even if you can't say, this is my story and I've been where you are, like, I can relate, using language that says, I know you feel X, Y, and Z. I know you desire X, Y, and Z. Like, we had a client who is a lawn care business. And the messaging we used on their website was, we used the story brand formula. And it was like their desire and their aspiration to walk out in their backyard and sit down with a cup of coffee and enjoy their backyard and not spend all their time mowing it, right? Like, that's, and being able to speak to that of, we understand, like, you want to host the parties and or the backyard barbecues or whatever. I'm just kind of spitballing. You want to spend your weekend like enjoying your backyard with your family, not worried about maintaining it. Right. So that statement right there is showing empathy, even if the statement is, I've been where you are. So hopefully that makes sense. And then the next way to show that you're the guide that they should choose is showing authority. And this is sharing testimonies, case studies, stats in your industry, sharing the history of your business, right? Like, we've been around for 10 years doing X, Y, and Z. I've helped, X amount of women get this results. That is more an authoritative statement. That's, again, in putting in their mind that you're the expert, who understands and who has authority in the area. Okay. Just do a time check. Okay, so then the next element is the plan. And this is, again, another thing that I love about this this way to do brand messaging, is that it just makes it simple. I know when you are the expert in your industry, there's so much you want to give them, and there's so much information, and you can do all the things, right? Like, you could do this and I can help you, and you can do this and I can help you. They don't want to know that, and they don't need to know that, because they probably just won't make a decision, is the truth. So you want to give them a roadmap or a plan that's really clear and straightforward. And so give them 3 steps. Make it really easy. So this example, schedule a call. We'll build you the custom strategy you need and help you achieve your goals together. Together we'll achieve your goals, or whatever. Amanda, book a consultation session, right? I'll help you build out a custom holistic strategy. And you'll, be less stressed, or whatever their goal is. Really easy, 1, 2, 3. You want the number one to be, and we're going to get to this in a minute. You want the number one to be a call to action, an action that they have to take, right? And then number two and number three is telling them in very broad stroke terms that this is the path we're going to go on. So, and the other thing that I would say is if you have multiple offers, multiple products or packages, you can have a different plan for each offer, each package. Just the simplest you can make it, it makes it feel less intimidating. Like they don't actually want to know that the consultation is going to be like an hour and a half and they're going to have to divulge all of their deep dark secrets to you. Right? Like they don't want to know that. They will when they get there. But you don't want to give them everything. You just want to make it feel like a really easy barrier of entry, a really easy thing to do in order to get onto the path to get to success. So I would say this is probably one of the hardest ones when we work with clients, especially with like messaging on websites, is simplify the process. How can we streamline the process, and how can we, even though it's like 15 steps in your plan, we're going to talk about the big three or the big four. Okay. And then next, you want to have, like I mentioned, a call to action. So a CTA, which is like what is typically called, is an invitation for your customer to take the next step. It's literally an invitation for them to take action on. You have two different types of call to action that are like needed in your business. And I would say pretty important to understand both of them, especially as you're building out different products, different services, maybe launching things. You have a direct call to action, which it gives them an immediate step. Call, schedule, book. You want to use direct call to actions primarily when your customer's already familiar with you and your business and your services, and they're ready to take the next step. They're most effective when they've already been introduced to you, right? So if it's in emails to warm leads, so people already on your email list, or it's in conversations with people who've expressed interest, you want to give them a direct call to action. So an example could be if you have, just on social media, like Whitney, if you're doing one of your lives, a call to action, like they're already getting to know you. They're like, that live is essentially you're warming a cold lead up into a warm lead because they're getting to know you on the live. So that would be, I think, a great opportunity to give a direct call to action. Send me an email, book a session, or whatever it might be. Very direct. A lot of times, we don't give direct CTAs enough. A lot of times we're afraid to feel like pushy or, I don't know, whatever, like promotion-y or salesy or whatever. You definitely want to make sure, and I would look back in your social media, I would look back in your emails, back in your text threads or DMs. When was the last time you gave a direct call to action? And that's going to be a good gauge for you of whether you need to step it up in that area or not. The next call to action that you also want to use is transitional. And this is something that it's still an action they take. It's something they're doing, but it's something that's giving them value or building trust. It's it's an easy ask. It's a free ask, right? Download this guide, sign up for the newsletter, join the Facebook group. Those are things that are basically getting them into your ecosystem to then warm them up so that you can make a direct ask to them and it doesn't feel invasive, right? Like this is the like you're warming them up. This is a like, will you at least like, will you ask me out on a date first before you and get like ask me to marry you type of thing.
Right. Okay. My bad.
Right. So use transitional call to actions when you're interacting with new or with cold audiences. Um, I would say like, especially on your like front facing on social media platforms, all that stuff. I would say you want to lean more towards the transitional call to actions than the direct. That might be wrong. There could be times when like it needs to be reversed. But overall, making sure you have easy asks available for people who can get into your ecosystem, right? And you're offering something valuable to them and they're getting to know your brand without having to make a really big commitment. Another thing I would put in here also is just um uh, know what you want the outcome to be. Sometimes it's super appropriate to have a really high direct call to action, meaning schedule a phone call. Like there's a lot of people who are like, I actually don't want to talk to somebody, so I'm not going to do that. Right. But if you're wanting to book a new client that's a $5,000 package, you're going to want to have a phone call with that person, right? And the person who's actually serious about spending that money isn't going to be afraid of a phone call, right? So there are times when a really high call to action will like cut through the fluff and bring you the people who are actually serious. And then there are times when you want a lower or transitional call to action that just is an open invitation for people to get to know you more and to warm up your market. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, and then the last two elements, and then we'll go into like some real world stuff. Well, this is real world, but you know what I mean, real world examples. The last two elements when it comes to building your brand story and having clear messaging about what you do and why your customer should use your services is understanding their successes and their failures. So everybody wants to have a positive outcome, right? Like you in life, you just want a positive outcome, right? And so showing them what success will look like when they work with you or when they encounter your product or whatever it is gives them a picture um, of the benefits to them, right? So to do this, to really illustrate the success that they'll have, is you want to describe the transformation that they're going to experience as a result of your product or service. And this isn't a note here, but you can go back to the problem, the three layers of problems. Success is the exact same way. You have the external success, the real obvious surface level success and benefits that they're going to get. You'll lose weight, your jeans will fit great, you're going to have more energy, you're going to sleep better, right? Then you have the internal success. You're going to feel like this. You're going to have more confidence. You're going to feel more attractive to your spouse, whatever it is, the internal. And then you have the philosophical or like the aspirations and desires, getting down to the core, right? So the transformation you're going to experience will get you all of these things, but ultimately it's going to get you closer to this core desire or aspiration that we know you have. So you want to think about, what does success look like for your person, for your customer? And how can how can your product, your service, your brand help improve their life? So saving a few examples that are listed: saving time, saving money, feeling more confident, feeling more empowered. It's supposed to say achieving a specific business goals. But again, the more you can speak to the core and the heart, um, the easier it's going to be to identify your people, right? Your tribe. And you don't need everybody. You don't want everybody. You want the people who are meant, that you are meant to service. You want the people that you are meant to work with. And so really getting clear on that core messaging of what do they desire, what are their deep like problems or fears, and how can I help them in that transformation journey. And then the last aspect I just kind of touched on a second, is there's also failures that you can put obstacles to. Failures feels harsh to me, but there's failures or obstacles that they will inevitably face if they don't do X, Y, and Z, right? So like a story is just more compelling when there's obstacles. And so while we don't want to like fear monger, I mean, that's definitely an angle of messaging and branding that businesses take and that you could take. I don't think anybody on this call would want to do that. Actually, it's just, I mean, it just doesn't feel good. So you don't want to focus all of your messaging on like, you're going to be left behind. You're going to feel like horrible. You're going to feel this and that if you don't, right? But you do want to touch on, there are things that you could be missing out on if you don't take action. The story is just better when there are stakes involved. And when you understand what is, what's on the line. So highlighting potential failure shows why taking action is important, right? Don't need to dwell on it, but reminding them why it's important just helps keep it relevant and keeps it in perspective. So an example, without clear messaging, you'll miss out on potential customers. Without a plan, you're going to feel anxious, like if it's a financial advisor. Without a plan, you're going to feel anxious about your financial future. Our like the way that we, I think, use this in our messaging for our agency is like, you were built for a purpose, and if you have a calling to build a business or to build a brand, you're missing out on part of your purpose by not doing it, right? It just gives a different perspective of reminding them what is at stake. And again, if you can get to the core of it, it's gonna hit differently. Like if you talk to a mom, Whitney, and you say, look, like you want to be at a place where you can run around the playground with with your kid, where you can, you're around long enough to see them grow up, or whatever it might be. It's just it hits a little bit differently than just saying you're going to look great in your jeans. You don't want to feel uncomfortable in your jeans. That's important too, but being aware, and I would say don't be afraid to mention the things that are at risk, the stakes, the stakes there are. I don't know if that makes sense, if they don't take action. So successes and failures, using your company, using your brand, your services, or failures or hardships that they'll encounter if they don't use it. So when you have all of these elements, at the end of the day, what you want to be able to say is, we help X, or I help X who struggle with this problem by providing this service so that they can feel this and or avoid this. Okay. So that would kind of be like an elevator pitch of how would that like messaging actually look like. Okay. With 414 Creative, we work with small to medium-sized businesses who struggle with growing and scaling their brand online, by providing marketing strategy and services so they can X, Y, and Z. Does that make sense? Okay. I just have like a couple slides. We'll go over an example, and then I just want to open up, and then we can just go through whatever. If we want to dive in deeper, Whitney, if you want to share part of what you're doing in your business, and we can even hot seat that a little bit. Here's an example. Let's say there's a career coach or a career like coaching business. Their hero, which is their customer, professionals who are feeling stuck, unfulfilled in their current job and looking to make a career change or advance in their field. The problems that customer feels external, they don't have a clear path to reach their career goals. They don't know how to stand out in a competitive market. Maybe they have a low pay, unsatisfied, right? Or internal, they feel frustrated, they're unsatisfied with their current position, they're uncertain, they're overwhelmed. The philosophical or the aspiration is that they deserve to find meaningful work that aligns with their strengths and their goals, right? So they're overwhelmed, they're stressed, they don't like their job. All of that you absolutely would want to speak to, but knowing that the heart of the message is, but you deserve to have a career that you absolutely love and that you rock at. It's a very different angle of your brand messaging. So who's the guide? The businesses. Our career coaching service is here to guide you to gain clarity, confidence, and success in your career path. Positioning yourself as an empathic guide. So we understand how difficult it can be to navigate a career change on your own. We understand how overwhelming it can be to, do X, Y, and Z. And then an authority statement. With 10 years of experience and hundreds of successful clients, we specialize in helping people achieve their career dreams. You see how it's like not, it's not this like crazy overwhelming thing. It's just a simple sentence, but just to be clear and concise and know that gives authority, right? Here's the plan. Book a discovery session. We'll build out a customized career roadmap for you, and you'll launch into your dream role with confidence. Boom, boom, boom. Are there a bunch of steps in between? Sure. Is there money exchanged? Absolutely. But boom, boom, boom. We're going to guide you to the road, on the road to success. Call to action. Schedule your free consultation today, right? The first step is to book a discovery session. So your direct call to action should be that number one. And then a transitional call to action, download our checklist for free. Okay, so success. I just see some engagement. I can't see faces. It's hard.
Okay.
So success. Here's the success that you're going to experience when you work with us. You're going to discover a career path that energizes you and aligns with your goals. You're going to have increased confidence in your future. A failure you might experience if you don't work with us. Without guidance, you risk staying in a job that's unfulfilling and missing out on career growth opportunities. And so if we took all of that information, a statement about what you do, an elevator pitch of, you got 10 seconds at a network meeting, whatever it might be. At Career Elevate Coaching, we help professionals who feel stuck in their career gain clarity, confidence, and a plan to reach their career goals. With over 10 years of experience, we provide the guidance you need to transition into a fulfilling role. Ready? So this would be like website copy, ready to take the next step, book a free consultation, let's map out your path forward. So you see how like it's super simple. It doesn't feel like, it almost feels like it should be harder. But it really doesn't need to be, because when you're putting the customer as the hero, like all of the fluff can go away because you're speaking directly to what it is they desire, how it is you can help them. And the less fluff, just the easier it is for them to see that path, and the easier it is going to be to say yes. To say, yes, this is, the step for me. So we're gonna like just open it up and we can start hashing it out with anybody who wants to go. But I would say your next steps, what I would do with this information is go through those elements. Again, even if you're solid on your messaging, having this information is so helpful when building out content, when writing emails. It just gives you a different and a fresh perspective. So go through each of these elements and get clear on what your brand story is. I feel like this is just like, oh, I felt like I had another one, but I guess I don't. Because also one of the things, the slide that I thought I had was showing that, a social media post, you could share, let's see, we'll go to the problem. You could have one post that talks about the internal problem they're facing. You're speaking directly to that person, directly to your ideal customer. You could have another social media post that talks about the philosophical problems that they might be facing, that talks about the success that they'll experience, right? Each of these elements has so many opportunities to be used as more content. And so that's where I love also plugging this in. Let's say you don't need new copy for your website. Let's say you don't need to completely rehaul your brand messaging. Are you honing in on like the aspirational desires that your ideal customer actually has? Are you giving a clear process and plan for them to follow? So I would play with, once you go through these elements, play with what does it look like to share that in social media? What does it look like? Follow for sure. Follow StoryBrand and follow Donald Miller. Their Marketing Made Simple, and I don't remember what there are two podcasts. They're very short, and
Business Made Simple.
Business Made Simple. Thank you. They do this in their podcast episodes. They'll hone in, especially in the Business Made Simple, which is Donald Miller's the one leading that one. He'll spend a podcast episode talking about the hero element. He'll spend an entire episode talking about the plan or successes and failures. So view that as just more opportunity to speak to your people in different ways with your content. Does that make sense? Okay, now I'm stopping share so I can see faces. I'll share the slides with
Yeah, what was that last slide?
Thank you.
No. No. No, it was kind of like, I took a picture of the second to last one, but
sorry.
He said thank you.
Thank you.
Did in the last slide. So thank you. Hold on, let me go back to sharing. This one?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll
Got it. Okay.
I'm gonna post this in the group too, in the
Okay.
Facebook
Okay.
group. So uh
They have missed a good session.
Yeah.
it's just a good, I mean, it's just a good simple formula that like doesn't overcomplicate it. And so if this isn't your jam, like if this isn't your thing, or you get to like nitty gritty and try to overcomplicate it, it's just a really easy way to like get to the point of who am I helping, what's their problem, and how am I actually helping them, right? So do we want to open it up? Do we, what do you guys want to do? Do we want to wrap it up, or do you want to open it up to walk through any of this with someone?
Y'all know say.
Huh? Yo no say. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, Whitney, let's go for it.
Okay.
Hot seat. So can I share kind of where
Yeah.
evolution? Okay.
Yeah.
And well, you share. I don't, it's your business. You share. Yeah.
Oh, where do you want it? Like what we talked about earlier?
Yeah. Like
So
the pivot that you want to kind of make.
yeah, so what I'm trying to do is figure out my footing when I'm talking to kind of two different audiences at the end of the day. Still moms, because my bread and butter is health and wellness for busy moms. I provide workouts, meal plans, monthly accountability, community, all the things you need to be successful to fit in the jeans that Melissa was talking about. Okay. So, so, but what I really love to talk about also is like what we're talking about right now is how to grow, scale, use social media, use email lists, use podcast, whatever makes sense for you, but also coach moms that reaching for more is okay, but how to reach for more when it comes to entrepreneurship, side hustle, like all that stuff. And what I want to start talking about is how to get there. So it is the external where it could be pain point would be paying the grocery bill, right? Like having that side hustle to not feel uncomfortable at the line, at the checkout line, right? I guess that could go into internal, honestly. Feeling defeated, overstimulated, embarrassed, like all that stuff, right? And then just figuring out messaging when it comes to that, and just, because I'm kind of known for the health and wellness side of things. So it's just really trying to find my way in that content on Whitney Williford and Fit Mom Society at the same time. So
It's Mom
where I'm at.
Society Business Edition.
Yes.
Ooh.
Yes. Love that. So really just trying to, I don't know, Melissa and I talked about it earlier. But just like I'm solving my own problem selfishly by talking about things through content, through social, through my email, about what I love to passionately talk about, which is business growth, which is social, which is the importance of an email list, like all that geeky stuff.
Question.
So it's just
with your Fit Mom Society, like hero, what would you say their philosophical problem is?
I mean, there's a lot of layers with motherhood and being out of shape, a big one is always the confidence thing. Like I feel like once they can capture that confidence through a healthier lifestyle, and when they're there, then they present themselves differently to their family, to their partner, to their community, to their workplace. You know what I mean? You just walk different, you talk different, you feel different, you feel lighter on your feet. So I think the philosophical is like the root of just, taking back control of their lifestyle or their journey, their health and wellness journey, and being able to feel better about themselves everywhere they go.
So I would bet that if you kept digging into that layer of your Fit Mom Society woman, right? It's some of the language I was thinking was like to really, like, you're helping women become the best version
Yeah.
and the best
Yeah.
mom of themselves, right? I think that's even
Mhm.
copy. I think that's copy we've used before. Like
I'm
the
sure.
best version. That sounds really familiar.
Yeah.
Of themselves. So I would bet that there's a sentence, there's verbiage in that aspirational for your Fit Mom Society that actually would translate really well over to the woman who also has business aspirations or side hustle aspirations. Like the best version of herself is fit and healthy and also pursuing something that she's passionate about. Does that make sense?
Mhm.
Yes, it makes sense. My 6-year-old's telling me good night. I'm listening.
Oh, no, you're good. You're good. So um so I would, when it comes to messaging, because that's always, I mean, like it's a real world thing. It's a real world problem when it comes to business and marketing because your business is naturally going to evolve and pivot and grow. We're pivoting in some of the things and the things that we're focusing on. And that messaging is going to so if you've always lived here, right? Speaking to these women, I know there's going to be a crossover when you're speaking to the aspirations and the desire of this woman. You could say the same thing in the lens of business, and it's going to resonate with a segment of your ladies. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes
So
sense. And I think it's just it's going to take time, because
Mm.
it is in the last few months is when I've been really talking about it because I've been seeing a gap like in our area for sure of like where I'm just like, girl, let me help you. You know what I mean? Like, just like, the things that I know work, that people are not implementing or just don't know, just like health and wellness.
Sure.
Once you know better, you can do better. Right.
Sure.
So it's like, I know there's going to be a crossover. And I think that messaging, the people, the attracted audience, ideal client will just come with time. The more I show up with it.
Right. The more you
Yeah.
start focus on identifying the problem in your content.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you focus on those 3 layers of identifying the problem, and speaking to the deep aspirations and desires of feeling fulfilled in all aspects of your life, of pursuing things that you're passionate and having the energy to do them, while still being able to take care of the kids. You know what I mean? If you start speaking to the pain points and that deep aspirations, I think you'll hit that chord quicker. And you'll find the women quicker because they'll be able to identify, oh yeah, that is me.
What about even using a bridge as far as identity and purpose? Obviously I do not have children, but I know far too many women who that becomes their identity, like motherhood,
Yeah.
and then whenever their kids graduate and they're empty nesters, they're just brokenhearted and devastated and they have no clue what they're doing with their life. And so focusing on too, motherhood is part of your person, but that is not your whole person,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And even you have a role to play in, like, don't wait until the kids are 18 and going and you're 45 and tired and don't want to do it at that point. Like, be
That's so
bold and
good.
go for it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. And I'm always preaching like from I guess it would be an external problem where moms will hide behind the kids, both like in photos, but in excuses when showing up for themselves, they'll hide behind their kids, and it's
That's
time to like
philosophical.
start leading, you
I would say
know?
that's philosophical, which is good.
Okay.
Like that's like like on the outside,
It hits.
they're hiding. But
Yes.
but are you
Yes.
actually hiding in life?
Yeah. Yeah. And
Like
the answer is
that's
yes.
yeah, yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah.
And that's one of those things that like, oh, like, and
She's right.
yeah, you're like,
Yeah.
oh, maybe. Or are you using your kids and your family as an excuse to not pursue some of the things that you know you're supposed to pursue, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
So good, y'all.
yeah. Yeah, I definitely think uh because again, I mean I think it's just such a natural evolution of your because you're speaking to like the truth is those women are already in Fit Mom Society, right? Like as Fit Mom Society grows, there will naturally be women who want more than just the health and wellness benefits.
Yeah. Or they
Uh,
didn't, they're
they
unlocking
don't
it or
know,
uncovering
right?
or like, oh wait, that
Hmm.
yeah, I do have that little pull for something. I
Yeah,
just haven't, I didn't know it was that, you know?
right, right. Yeah. And so then I would say like your call to action for sure, it's like keep it transitional right now. As you're exploring and figuring it out, um, and like building your solid offers for them.
Yeah.
Right, because again, like that doesn't mean you can't have clients. That means when you're posting or when you're sending it or when it's a broad net, keep it a transitional call to action.
Yeah.
Join this group or sign up or whatever, or have a lead
Mm-hmm.
magnet or something specific for them. Um, to continue to like field what it is they're actually looking for, right? Because
Yeah.
I mean, because then it's like a whole world that you could go into. Also, is it people who already have a business? Is it women who want to start a business and don't know what to start with? Is it, the women who are in network marketing, or are they
Yeah.
wanting to do their own? Like, there's kind of a whole, but and you won't know until you really start getting
Yeah.
them into that
And
siloed group. Yeah.
yeah. And start polling, like you said, and getting feedback and like what else do y'all want? What more do y'all want? Or what do you
Yeah.
want? Which lane do you really want? You know?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Amanda, how
Questions.
is your launch prep? Right, you're launching on the 1st of
Yeah,
January.
on January 1st. Yeah, so
How's it
it's
going?
going good. So for like November, I'm just gonna like once a week just kind of plant those seeds, and then come December, like get more and more obnoxious,
Yeah.
as it goes. But yeah, just trying to like last week it was just like, save the date. And then like this week it's gonna be like, oh, this is what's happening. And then like just kind of feeding more information, reposting some of the testimonials that I already have as far as like people working one-on-one, but then even from some of the people that I have going through the beta launch. And then yeah, so it's good.
Good.
So just
I
cool story, y'all. I have a lady who's going through the beta launch right now. And it's somebody that I've known, like, so I was a pediatric therapist for forever and I worked in the schools. And so she was a special ed teacher. And so I worked with her a lot. But she's been a teacher for like 28 years. She's tired, she's burned out. And she was like, like listening to your words, like I just feel this desire to like step into my calling. And like her dad died when she was like 15. And so she remembers the day that her mom came home from the hospital and was just like, I went to the funeral home, but like I couldn't even do it. And so she's always had this dream of working at a funeral home and like being there for families. And at first I'm like, this is so morbid, but whatever floats your boat, you know? And so then like we have this whole coaching call and I'm like, okay, well then like take some action. Y'all, she got a job at Broussard's the next day, being like a family concierge at the funeral home after school and on the weekends. And I was like,
What?
see is that, but yeah.
Well, how's is she getting fulfillment?
Yeah,
That's
absolutely.
awesome.
Yeah. And so, I mean, that's something that she's wanted to do. And so now she's like filling out the papers to retire at the end of the school year so she can go work at the funeral home full time.
What?
Mhm.
That's
Fantastic.
wild. That's awesome.
Isn't it?
So you should write a testimony and then just have her approve it of how like your course like made her take action and now she's like living a dream job that she never thought she'd have.
Yeah. A dream that she's had for 40 years. Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Like, but like we've learned that instead of asking for testimonies, ask permission of, hey, could I write a testimony from you? Like, I know you're busy, blah, blah, blah. Could I
Yeah.
write a testimony for you and send it to you? And like, you can change it. You can tell me you don't like it. You could rewrite it, whatever you want to do, or just give me a thumbs up if we're good to share. Because that's an awesome, like, that's exciting.
Yeah. Like when we first started talking about the whole funeral home thing, I was like, this is so weird. But
And
I
then
was
you're like, this is not what I was
oh,
expecting.
yeah, not at all. But I'm like, if that's been on your heart, you know, and like knowing her, like it really does tap into her gifts and skills and her calling and just her personality, you know, it's just being like
Yeah.
this very compassionate individual, like where you feel safe, you know, and so, and then her already having this experience of like having a loss and like somebody not knowing. I'm like, because if I had to walk into the funeral home today, I'd be like, I don't know what to do, you know. So having that
That's
person
true.
there to meet you with compassion and empathy and being like, look, we can do this.
That's awesome.
So I don't know how we got on this whole funeral home conversation.
I
but-
was asking about the course and stuff.
yeah.
And I would say also, I would say speak to in your content, speak to pain points also. I mean,
Yeah.
that's honestly when it comes to like the different elements of the messaging, the pain points are the most easily identifiable to people, right? Because a lot of times that they can call out the problems they can call out the problems that they're having, or if they see it, they can be like, oh yeah, that's me.
Yeah.
So even Whitney, like what we had said earlier of are you hiding behind, like most women probably wouldn't be at the place of like admitting it or saying that like openly, but when they hear it, they're like, oh yeah, I think I am. You know what I mean? Like it's like I might not be able to verbalize it, but I can recognize it when I see it. So like the pain points and the problems that they're experiencing are different than like the failures they'll have if they don't do X, Y, and Z, right? So yeah, so I would just that would be my like just encouragement of make sure you're hitting on the pain points that you help people overcome or the pain points that they will no longer have, and then the success that they'll have because of XYZ. All right, Ebony, how you doing, girl?
I am doing good. A lot better. So I got my own place. Oh, hi Amanda and Whitney. My name's Ebony.
Hi.
Hi. So I had a big death this summer, so that kind of took away like a lot. My 1-year-old cousin passed away. So that was like a big hit. And then I moved back in with my parents a little bit just to kind of get like some money saved and get out some debt. So I was able to do that. Now I'm back in a place where I can kind of like focus. Now I got my own place. I just actually moved on Friday. So I'm tired. And now my sister's moving, so I've been helping her move. But I do thank you for still like keeping me like included with all of my transitional stuff. But Like I said, like my brand every day is on my mind every day, so I know I'm called to do that. And I'm really happy to be with Christian people because you don't find that a lot. People just
Mm,
want your money and they want to they want to give you what they think, which is okay, but it's good to have like-minded people around you, especially with something that God gave you to build or a vision or a legacy to build. And you kind of hit it on the nail earlier. Like it is a legacy thing. So I'm really
mhm.
happy. So I'm in a better clear space now.
Oh, good. Well, I'm glad you're here. I'm glad to see your face. Um, and yeah, I would do the homework just to get yourself back in the headspace. And like, again, like we'll dive a lot into this into like the like future like word and prayer calls, but this is like the huge benefit of being a kingdom minded entrepreneur is like you get Holy Spirit to help give you wisdom and clarity and all of these things, right?
Mhm.
Um, I mean, truly, that is like I think we take it for granted what we have access to, or like we silo business from the Holy Spirit and just think we have to do it the way that the world does it. I'm going to get off the soapbox, but my encouragement to you would be to do the homework
Okay.
and to get yourself back into the vision of what it is the Lord's given you, right?
Yeah.
Who it is, who are you called to serve? What problems do they have, right? Like just getting back into that headspace, um, I think would be like a great next step, and then just keep showing up,
Yes,
you know?
ma'am. Yes. And thank you for being patient. I really appreciate you guys too.
Yeah. Well, y'all, that's it. That's all she wrote. Um, if I would love, and we'll poll and stuff, and the goal is, and the like, it's not always going to be me. That's not the plan. Um,
She's like, I'm not.
but I'm gonna start, like, we're gonna start polling in the roundtable group, and we've been through just like we're pivoting ourselves in business, and we've just been going through a transition ourselves, and so it's so ironic that we did the content challenge and I put like 0 content out because there was so much going on behind the scenes of like what are we actually focusing on now that we can now really get more solid on what the content is. But part of that for us is building out the Entrepreneur Roundtable and just building it out as an online community. So Whitney, I love you. Thank you for being engaged in posting. Y'all like use it as a mastermind. Like that was originally why the group was started, was just getting people together. And now we're really going to try to grow it to build up a community of Christian entrepreneurs. So feel free to invite people to it, but when there's conversations going on in that group, like it would be super beneficial for everybody to engage in it, and answer upcoming polls of like, is there something specific you'd want to talk about business wise? Is there someone specific, that you would love to like have lead a workshop or something? So yeah, so we would love feedback at any point. So, all right. Okay, everyone go to bed.
Thank you.
It's like 10 o'clock, I feel like.
It's like 18
real.
p.m., you know? Yeah.
18 p.m.
18 p.m. That's
All
hilarious.
right. All right.
Thank you guys.
Bye,
See you
y'all.
Talk to you
later.
later.
You.
Have a good
Bye.
night.
Bye.
Bye.